Thanks for joining me today, guys. I'm David Steen. Just a quick background on myself. In crypto since 2012, worked with a lot of different crypto projects and now kind of work on the strategy side to help crypto companies and blockchain companies go to market and really just increase market share. This will really be kind of a foundational understanding of how these different DeFi investments work. This space has a huge learning curve. You will probably make mistakes. So what is DeFi? Highest level, it just means that any type of financial application or service that is decentralized. When most people are talking about DeFi, they're either talking about exchanging or trading and lending and borrowing. They're offered in a way that replaces some type of intermediary. For example, in the lending and borrowing process, typically that would be with a bank. In DeFi, you are lending and borrowing against other people with the help of a protocol that's putting it all together. So a computer program that's sort of making all the stuff behind the scenes that normally a bank would do. Same thing with exchanging and trading. If you go on Coinbase today or Binance or whatever you guys like to use to trade, that's the company themselves actually facilitating those trades, owning that whole process. Whereas in the DeFi world, something like Uniswap, it's just a computer program and it's not controlled by anyone. It's operated on this blockchain network. In this decentralized world, you need people to do these certain things within these ecosystems in order for them to work. All this kind of lies around, well, how do you incent people to go and do these things? And that's what these protocols do. Participating in this ecosystem, that's where the opportunity is to go and make some money, to make some passive revenue. One of the kind of core things in DeFi that sort of make up everything else that you're going to learn. That's the invention of automated market makers. DeFi really wasn't a thing like a year ago or a year and a half ago. Most of what we know now as DeFi was not around. So it's very, very new. All this innovation came in the last 1.5 years is because of this deployment of this automated market maker idea. Who knows what an order book is, or who goes on an exchange right now and sort of like makes a limit order or makes a stop order? Awesome. So you guys know what I'm talking about. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, rather than going on Coinbase and just saying, I want to buy at this market price, you say, well, if the price is $100 now, I want to actually put in a limit order so that I can buy it when it reaches $95 because I think it's a little expensive right now. That order would be put into what's called this order book here. And on the left here, you can see, I think you guys can see my mouse, where you have these bids over here and you have these asks. These bids are essentially, well, I want to go and buy Bitcoin at $100 less than it is right now. Your order would be placed in the queue in this order book, which is essentially just a list of orders, right? And so at each price point, you have all this liquidity, all this amount of money that could, if someone was to go and buy the market price right now. Really, the only reason you have to understand that is because now in this new paradigm with DeFi, we are having these things called liquidity pools. Sort of takes this whole traditional order book model and just takes all these orders on each side and just consolidates them down into this one solid price. Look at this little cylinder here. So rather than having a bunch of different prices, a bunch of different orders, it's all consolidated into one. Within a liquidity pool, you'll have two assets, two tokens. Let's say that the left one is Ethereum and the right one is Bitcoin. In order to create a market, you just need someone to put some Bitcoin and some Ethereum into this pool. And then I, as a trader, can then go and say, well, I want to actually take some Bitcoin out of that pool and trade my Ethereum for it. So I'm just kind of swapping, one in, one out, right? Once you have some coins in there, people can trade against those rather than having this whole order book that you can trade from. Really what this allows you to do, you have this liquidity pool here on the right, this XYZ, these blocks here, that's representing pooled liquidity where these tokens are. In order to get the tokens in there, you have these things called liquidity providers. That can be me or you. And then you also have the traders who are wanting to swap one token for another token. So in order to make this work, the people who are supplying liquidity have to be able to, get paid for that. No one's just going to take their coins and apart for them for free. They actually get trading revenue from the traders who are going to, pay a fee to this program, which will ultimately bring it over to the liquidity providers. So in order to do that, the automated market maker, the AMM here, is basically the facilitator of all this. So they're the person that's setting the prices. Think about it like someone behind the desk in like the 1980s as a broker trading stock, or people are calling them and they're saying, okay, you want to buy or sell at $80? Sure, I can do that. And they're kind of just facilitating that. Whereas now, it's all done through computers. That's essentially all this is, a computer that's running this pool and these people participating in it to make sure that each side gets paid.
Trader, what are you looking for? Like you are looking for arbitrage, right? Like you are just sort of looking at the price of the tokens, and then you are borrowing from the pool, and then just paying back. Is this what the traders are doing essentially with these pools?
So the traders are doing the same thing that they would be doing on Coinbase in terms of just wanting to trade one token for another token, right? In this example, right? It's all you're doing is just saying, I want Ethereum. So rather than going on Coinbase and doing it there, I'm just going to go to this liquidity pool and like a Uniswap and trade my Bitcoin to Ethereum. Use cases for why you'd want to use a liquidity pool, an AMM versus an order book. But in this, example, we're just going to keep it really simple.
Is Uniswap a liquidity pool?
Uniswap is an automated market maker. That would include a liquidity pool. That's what you call them. Uniswap has a lot of different liquidity pools. A liquidity pool is just saying like, here's two tokens or two assets in this pool, and that's the liquidity pool. But the automated market maker kind of sits on top of all these liquidity pools and is the one that's coordinating all the trades. Most DeFi products leverage these pools or AMMs in some way. Really has given rise to a lot of different investment opportunities. One we just talked about is you can go and be the liquidity provider for one of these pools. So I can take, if I have some Bitcoin, Ethereum, or some DAI, and name your token here, you can go and put it into a pool and then generate some passive revenue based on what that pool is offering in terms of trading fees or other incentives. So every pool is different. That's the gist of that if you have two tokens, you can go put it into a pool somewhere and generate revenue. And that's what I'm going to show you in a minute here with Uniswap. The other one, and this is sort of the same thing, but just kind of an added incentive, is called liquidity mining. And so liquidity mining is when you're adding to a pool, essentially an incentive program that says, if you add liquidity to this pool, you will get paid in a additional token called a liquidity provider token or an LP token. You'll see it referenced a lot. An extra incentive for putting the liquidity in that pool.
And is that proportionate to what you put in percentage-wise?
Yes, it's a percentage based.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I guess it depends actually. Different programs will operate differently. So I will say it depends, but generally, yes, it's proportionate to what you put in. There's protocols like Aave and other products that you can get yield from through their, whatever their product is. So if you participate in the lending and borrowing ecosystem, you can earn passive revenue from this. And usually that kind of goes along with, could be also liquidity mining, where Aave is giving you an LP token for providing liquidity to a pool. And then there's this other thing, which is usually what people mean when they say yield farming. Combining these different strategies, these different products, generating additional yield than you would get by doing just one strategy at a time. There's sites that have sort of aggregated this and made this very simple and automated this, such as Yearn Finance. So let's just say you did liquidity mining where you then generated an LP token. You could then go and take that LP token along with another token and then go and put that into a pool, like they stack on top of each other. Keep taking the tokens that you would get from that and then put it into new things and switches it to whatever is the most profitable pool that day. So there's lots of different more advanced things that you can do there. Sort of all this goes back to liquidity, pooling liquidity in some way or another.